sector is benefiting from. And if we step backwards, we realize that's nothing but an outcome of the growth of the Indian economy, right? So I think as India grows, you would realize that there will be an increasing propensity for these events to happen. And you're right, each of these events effectively bring a week or two of sold out.
Hi and welcome to Kotak Chatroom, presented by Kotak Securities. I'm Indu Chaudhary. In this special edition, we are going to be focusing on Samhi Hotel Limited upcoming IPO. Joining in to discuss more details on this IPO with me, I have the top management of the company. Joins in Mr. Ashish Jakhanwala, Chairman, Managing Director, and Chief Executive Officer of the company, and Mr. Rajat Mehra, Chief Financial Officer of Samhi Hotels Limited. Gentlemen, welcome to Kotak Chatroom. Ashish, I would like to begin with you. The company is raising nearly 1,200 crore rupees through this IPO. What is the objective behind it? Give us a sense about the total debt that is there in the company's book and how much fund the company is going to utilize to pay off the debt.
Thank you, Indu. Thank you so much. Rajat, if you can take through the construct of the IPO.
Yeah. So, Indo, the company is actually coming out with a primary issue of 1,200 crores, and there's a secondary. If I look at the current total cap that we have, so at about the higher end of the brand, the offer for sale is about 170 crores, totally to about 1,370 crores of the total IPO size. The primary proceeds, net of the IPO cost, will be used for completely debt reduction. And our debt currently is about 2,833 crores, with an average cost of about 12.87%. As I said, the IPO proceeds will be used for the purpose of deleveraging. So after that, our overall debt will go down. That's the entire primary purpose of the IPO.
कंपनी इज करंटली फोकसिंग ऑन एक्विजिशन लेड स्ट्रैटेजी. आप होटल एक्सपेंशन के लिए आप बता सकते हैं कि पोस्ट लिस्टिंग व्हाट वुड बी योर स्ट्रैटेजी फॉर एक्सपेंशन.
Though historically, what we have seen is there is a tremendous potential in India of identifying undermanaged, underperforming hotel assets, and that's on account of variety of reasons, including poor brand penetration. And we have seen that once you acquire those hotels, if you have a programmatic approach to change the product, bring a strong brand, run very strong asset management, you can create a fairly significant differentiation in the performance of those hotels, right? So that's been our core strategy through the last decade, and that's how we built India's third largest hotel company in terms of hotel rooms, ownership of hotel rooms in a short span of time, right? Going forward, I can talk about immediate next few quarters, let's say next year or two. Our focus is there's a lot of internal growth opportunities within the company. These internal growth opportunities are effectively, I would say, a result of our past acquisition. So today we have 4,800 operating rooms in the country. We expect to renovate or rebrand about 900 of those 4,800 rooms. That's a substantial change in performance of that category. And then we also intend adding about 600 rooms to our portfolio, taking it to about 5,400 rooms. And all of this is immediate, and all of this is organic, sitting within the company's balance sheets today, right? So for the next few quarters, growth is really coming from those activities.
Okay, great. So could you please provide us some insights or guidance on the anticipated free cash flow that your company aims to generate in this fiscal year, I mean in 2023?
If you look at our P&L, so there'll be certain data points one needs to look at to derive comfort. But if you look at the year-end EBITDA, which is about 311.5 crores for FY23, if you look at key performance indicators between Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 for the last fiscal year, you will see there's a constant improvement in performance of the portfolio. Today's debt is about 2,850 crores. That is substantially reducing from the IPO proceeds, and with that also is the reduction in the cost of debt. And really, that's what was sucking up a lot of the free cash or the cash generated from operations. So whatever is a reduction in interest cost from deleveraging the balance sheet and reduction of the interest, that fresh cash gets freed up for the business to be used for future.
So the company's average rent per room rising from around 3,000 to 5,000, and the average occupancy rate increased from 41% to 71.67% from March 2022 March 2023. What factors do you attribute to this positive trend, and what is the reason behind this uptrend?
Couple of reasons, both internal and external, right? The external factor is really very strong demand environment, and that very strong demand environment is actually very well supported by a very poor supply environment. So there's very little new supply of hotel rooms, at least in the micro markets that we operate in. The demand growth continues to be really strong. It's in the range of 8 to 12%. Supply growth is in the range of 2 to 6%, as per the JLL report. So what you realize is that the demand is outpacing supply and by a reasonable margin. So that's really an external factor. Internally, we've been obviously building the portfolio since 2011, 2012, and it's only towards FY20 we started seeing a large part of our portfolio stabilizing. And as portfolio stabilizes, you'll see expansion in margins. So there are both they're both factors, external and internal, which have allowed us to transform the business from a revenue of about 640 odd crores in FY20 to a total revenue of about 960 odd crores in FY23. And similarly, the EBITDA has gone from 172 crores to 311 crores.
Could you please give us more insights on the numbers of revenue per available room?
So if you look at RevPAR, or revenue available per room, you would see that in the full fiscal year, right, the RevPAR of the company was approximately 3632, and this excluded the recent acquisition of ACIC portfolio. Having said that, this RevPAR has improved quarter on quarter in the last fiscal year. So it was at about 3,300 rupees in the quarter one. It went to 3,400 rupees in quarter two, moved to about 3,700 in quarter three, and was at 4,300, 4,400 rupees in quarter four. So even though the year average is about 3,632, you would see the last two quarters were significantly higher than the annual average. So we are seeing a consistent improvement in the demand environment. With that improvement in demand environment comes a fairly stable occupancy level. And we've seen the occupancy levels for the year being at about 72%, and in the last quarter at about 74%, right? So you're seeing very good capacity utilization. You're seeing rate growth coming with that capacity utilization, and you're also not seeing much future supply, which could disrupt this flow, if I may use the word, right? So I think there are very strong, but yet simple indicators of where the sector is headed. And thankfully, we don't need to give future guidance because the fundamentals of the sector are pretty strong. And I think anybody will be able to derive where the future is headed.
Two major events for hotel industry. First, let's talk about G20. Could you please help us to understand the expected growth in terms of revenue we can anticipate as a result of G20 event? What are your plans for the upcoming World Cup?
So as Indian economy grows, you'll see a larger flow of events, both commercial and social as well, right? I would classify ICC World Cup as a bit of a social event, and the G20 was more of a commercial economic event, right? I think that's something that we're going to keep seeing in the future. I think certain markets and certain segments of hotels may have benefited purely from G20, but generally we've seen that we operate, our 53% revenues come from mid-scale hotels, right? And those hotels have not really seen a lot of direct business coming from G20. I'm quite certain there'll be some indirect business coming through that. But generally, we are seeing a very strong demand environment independent of these events. But interestingly, all of these events contribute to that. But we don't stop at these two events, Indu, right? There have been many more events. Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, for instance, in Ahmedabad, has always been an event which has brought a lot of business, right? The international trade show in Delhi that happens always has brought a lot of businesses to that city, or the auto show, right? Or the Bangalore Air Show. And they have a significant impact on the all year performance. So I would think what you're seeing is a start of the growth and contribution of the MICE to the hotel sector, meeting, incentive, conference, and exhibitions. And we are not stopping just at G20 or at ICC World Cup. Don't forget, there's IPL, there's IPL Women, there's Kabaddi League, and there is India's ambition to host an Olympics sometime far in future. All of this, Indu, will lead to a lot of sporting events in this country, right? So I think we're pretty excited about that.
That's all for today. Thank you so much for joining in, and we wish you all the very best for your upcoming IPO. Thank you.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.